thank y'all for coming. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm the owner of Coralvue. Uh, Started this company about 20 years ago, or actually 20 years ago now. So a lot of people, recognize Coralvue as just a distributor of other manufacturers' products, but I actually started out as a manufacturer of building products. And these are just some of the old products that we kind of going through. Maybe some people recognize metal halides, lighting, reflux, luminarcs, and some of the brands. And then we kind of take us through to our newer days now. We have a new facility. We're based out of Slidell, Louisiana, just north of New Orleans. So keep growing, and we're doing all our manufacturing in house. We have a full S&T line. Wave sorting machines are on the way, another pigment clears machine. So we're constantly growing. The biggest challenge lately has just been parts, electrolytics, trying to be able to meet the demand for the boards that we build in the house. So the pandemic's definitely continuing, but we're doing our best to keep up. And one of the biggest questions we get is, when are we going to go international? When are we going international? And really, it's just we can't meet the demand here in the U.S. at this point to be able to look into that. It certainly wouldn't be fair to try and go other places when we can't meet our demand here. But one thing people ask me is, where did this idea for hydrants come from? And one of the unique things about Coralvue is, I'd say about 90% of us were really hardcore action hobbyists, and we've all used a competitor's control before on our systems, and it seemed like it became a support portal issue within our own company, trying to have Carlos, our IT director, answer questions and troubleshoot our own systems. We use aquariums and for our personal homes and within offices to test equipment, marketing. So we felt like we could do something, make something better, make something easier for people to use, make something, a better price point, entry price point for people to come in to have a controller. We're responsible for keeping these animals that, to me, are really special. Anything we can do to protect them, give them a better home environment, protect your, not just that investment, but your time that you put into your aquarium. It's really important. But really the biggest break we got with hydrants is our director of engineering, Don Emerson, that came on board. I've worked with engineers in the past, and having Don come on, this man's really a visionary. He's incredibly talented, and it's without him and his team, we wouldn't be here. So I'm really appreciative of him taking a chance on me, and coming from a large industry to the aquarium industry was a big gamble for him, but I think it's paying off, and people are starting to see what we're doing. And I'm going to bring out some people now. Connor's up next, and kind of just let you know what we were at now, and then Carlos will come out and tell you where the future is and what we're going to release. So we'll go ahead and bring Connor up now. Yeah, to get his speed limit. Right.
Thank you guys so much for coming out to this. So exactly as David had said, the past has started with David building these machines and seeing an opportunity for what we wanted to create in this market with hydrants. So that led to the innovation of wave engine. Using these pumps that we know and love, we can use that to our advantage to make a machine that takes the hodgepodge of pumps that we're used to and bring them into an environment that is known how to work. We can customize it to what we want, and we continue to build on it. So this wave engine was an innovation. It eliminated power supplies, it cut down on that mess, and it created value for money. With compatible pumps, we're able to eliminate that power supply and eliminate that controller that usually comes with that to save our end user money on what they're looking to do. So the wave engine was a revolutionary product in that aspect. And that completely revolutionized what we want to do in the future, leading us to the present, what we're currently doing with operations within hydros. Hydros is something that we've all been looking forward to do and build upon that. And, looking to manage your aquarium from anywhere in the world, control pumps, control lights, control heaters, and really anything that we come to expect out of hydros, we want to get that out of our aquarium. We want to incorporate that. We want to control those pumps. We want to monitor temperature. We want to monitor water levels of pH. We want to make sure that whatever you're looking to do out of your aquarium, you can get that done with hydros in that first party. And of course, detect leaks, get that emergency system, that early warning monitoring system, detect leaks, failure devices. All of our hydro springs are smart, so they bring that into each other. If one fails, the next one goes. Setting up a hydros is quick and easy. Everything is color coordinated. When you're looking at it, it may look confusing, but we've tried to identify the best path. Now, once you get in the hydro system, it's very easy to identify what you want to do next. It's easy, set up, color coordinated, and even all the accessory devices have that color coordination on them. So if you have the ports available, you're going to be able to set it up. And we knew a good amount of what people would be wanting to set up. We don't want to incorporate coding or anything like that to create an ultra customized. So we have 20 different presets to select from. Maybe that's an ATO, a heater, a return pump. We know most likely you're going to be setting up on your devices. So a quick and easy, understandable language provided that to be able to that easy installation. On top of that, no coding. You don't have to know exactly what you need to code. It's straightforward English language. You put it in and you get that output. Now, this can be as simple as you want or as advanced as you want. What a simple setup would be, maybe it's just one controller with a Wi-Fi outlet strip, a leak detector, and a temperature sensor. For a lot of people, that is exactly what they want. They want something simple. They can give them early warning and set up incredibly easy. And you can see on this example, this is a Hydros Control X3. What it's up for raffle today. And on this setup, you have a rogue leak detector, a temperature sensor, and 4 outlets of Wi-Fi strip. Very easy. But a lot of people, they like that and they want to expand. They get that advanced setup and they start to bring in more and more devices. This user has one of what we call the X4 Pro Pack. So they have that X4 and that XT8, and you can see they dove deeper a little bit into the hobby of what they're looking to get out of their control. On top of that, a wave engine creates that motion of the ocean to make sure that everything in their aspect of their tank is taken care of and monitored. Now, we talked a little bit about that, but reef tanks, but hydros is aquarium automation for everything. Now, what does that exactly mean? Our system is completely modular. You can start low or you can start high. You can start wherever you feel comfortable. We're not just for that high-end reef tank. We're for planting tanks. We're for freshwater cichlid tanks. We're for reptiles even. Whatever you want to do out of the aquarium automation is very simple, and you can get started for as little as $199. Our accessories are extremely affordable, and we use our technology partners to pass that savings on to our end users. That all started with the wave engine, as David had said. This progress started 20 years ago with the innovation of the wave engine. And now we are on wave engine version 2. Production, as David said, is fully brought in-house. So this wave engine version 2 offered a lot of things with 4 pump outputs. We wanted to offer something for the lighter user. So we have the wave engine LE with those 2 pump outputs. It makes it incredibly easy to add those pumps and bring it on. And all this kind of led into the progression of what we were looking to develop out of controls. Those first controls on the market were the Control X2 with those 2 sense ports and 2 drive ports. Very easy to get and set up right at the beginning. Following next, and one of our most popular devices is the Control X4. This was the flagship device for us. It had every port that we currently offer. It has 2 Pro ports, a 0 to 10, drive ports, 4 sense ports, and could connect up to 8 Wi-Fi devices. So a lot of users found this extremely handy right out of the box to get everything they ever needed. Going on to that, we saw opportunities for more expansions of what we could do to make the system even more robust and modular. The first one we added after that was the Control XS, added 4 more sense ports onto it, extra senses. When you ran out of those sense ports, you don't need to replace your device. You can complement it by adding onto it. Continually to add on. It's complementary over substitution. Then we saw the opportunity to go back to those small devices, those small tanks again, and we introduced the Control X3 with 1 pH port and 2 Pro ports. I see a lot of planted tanks utilizing this to make sure everything is safe within their pressurized CO2 system. And further, the Control XP8 was probably our most anticipated device and included 8 wired AC outlets, 124 volt outlets, and that's for those mission critical life support systems. If you are looking to start, you could start with the Hydros Control XP8. It is a brain on its own. And it brings that in, we're listening to our customers. We want a wired outlet. We want a wired outlet. And we weren't going to just give you that. We were going to give you a Hydros Control brain on top of that too. So that led us into listening to our customers. We listened to what they wanted to hear. So what they wanted, and that was pages. They wanted to customize what they were looking at. If you use Hydros, you can see your main page, but you can also create customized pages. Hydros cannot be used for 1 tank. It could be used for 2 tanks, 3 tanks, 4 tanks, and we don't want to overload your screen. So pages were an easy add-on to make that customizable view. Further, we wanted to protect our users, not only from themselves, but anything that may happen. Backups and versionings were a very key important part of that. We can go back 20 versions of what changes have been made. So if something happened in your tank, an accidental upload was made, you don't have to try and figure out what was wrong. We can revert back up to 20 separate times. On top of that, we have versionings and also TDS meters. Users wanted a TDS sensor to make their ROTI smart. If water is life source for our aquarium, we want to make sure that's consistent and monitored. So a TDS meter was a simple add-on to that. And further, a rope leak detector. We innovated that with solid state rope leak, plastic conductivity. If you've ever worked with a rope leak detector, usually it's fibers. You get it wet, it takes about 3-4 days for it to become completely dry. With that solid state, as soon as you wipe it, it is completely dry. And further, shared accounts. We work with a lot of retailers, and these retailers will provide service to their accounts. We wanted to give an opportunity to our clients to provide access to accounts in a read-only fashion and an override-only fashion. And then, of course, if you really trust that person, a full access override. So you get that customability and that shared account. We listened to what they wanted, and we continued on to that. In the winter of 2021, we did a survey. What are our users wanting to get out of the most? The bigger this is a cloud graph, the bigger the word, the more they wanted it. Monitoring levels, dosing, and everything was on there. We used the study, to propel ourselves into the future. And with that, I will bring up Carlos Michon to talk about our innovations.
All right, thank you. So, what's got items here? Raise your hands. Nice, thank you. All right, who's got old drive ports used up? You need more drive ports? Right, everybody else. Anybody else? No more drive ports? What about more pH ports? No? Yeah, everybody. Exactly. So here at Hydros, we've been trying to change things around. And I have one saying, I was, listening to a podcast and he goes, change is inevitable. Growth is optional. All right. So we're not here just to change things. We want to grow. We want to take hydrants. We want to take controllers to the 21st century. Okay. We want to give you what you guys have been asking for. But if we're going to give you what we've been asking for, we don't just want to give you something because that's somebody else asked. We want to give you something and make it better. All right. So with that, I'm going to introduce the Control XD. And the Control XD has been something that people have been asking for. Gentlemen, right here, so name for more dry ports. We got 3 dry ports here. All right. So the Control XD gives you 3 12-volt DC outputs. Okay. Each output is 1.5 amps, and the full controller can give you up to 3 amps max. This is going to drive your dosing pumps. It's going to drive your small LEDs, the cabinet LEDs when you open the door, fans, solenoid, and many more accessories. Okay. Best of all, it also includes all the benefits of a Hydros controller. This is a full-fledged controller. This is not a module.
This can actually handle Wi-Fi strips. It can actually handle third-party inputs such as ultrasonic, the ultrasonic and the massotonic on the app. Yeah. So it is a full-fledged controller. It is also a power giver. All right. Hypers has been all about redundancies of brains, multiple brains that will keep your access in sensing your aquarium. So this is a power giver, which means that if you have a wave engine and something happens to the power supply, and you're basing your entire system off of that wave engine power supply. Well, when you add this device, now you actually have something else providing power to your brain. So if the wave engine power supply dies, then this device will pick up and continue to power everything, including your Control 4, your Control 2, everything else. So you can still access your devices. You can still monitor your pH, access the output. So this adds redundancy of brain. You are not basing everything on one single brain. All right. So people have been asking, speaking of assets, how many people here want to monitor salinity? The salinity board, there you go. One over there, two here, salinity. People have been asking for salinity for a long time. What's the problem with salinity? For every person that salinity works, there's one or two people that it just doesn't work. It's got interference. So let's introduce you to the Control X10. The Control X10 introduces the following features. It introduces salinity and conductivity. And it also introduces a full stepper dosing. Now, these are integrated with the brain. You're not having to worry about wires. You don't have to worry about Wi-Fi. You don't have to worry about cables. You know what? If something happens, you lose your Wi-Fi, the dosing pumps are integrated within the brain itself. So the device can make the decisions. You don't have to worry about, my controller died and now my dosing pumps don't work, because they're all integrated with it. All right. The dosing pumps they use an advanced Tridonic chip. Now, Tridonic is a company that has been making chips to drive dosing pumps. This is their sole job. That's what they do. And when somebody does something like that, they do it better. Here at Hydros, we're not here to reinvent the wheel. We're here to partner with companies that have been doing things for a long time and they do it well. Anybody that runs a business here, if you're looking for an electrician, you don't do it yourself. You get an electrician, So you partner with somebody that knows what they're doing. All right. So this is the dosing pumps can also give you dosing schedules. So you can create dosing schedules. You can add 10 milliliters every hour, 20 milliliters every 10 minutes, a minute. Best thing about it is we allow you to use dosing pumps. All right. So you don't have to now schedule 4 different pumps and create 4 different schedules. What you can do is you can create one schedule and add 2, 3 pumps to it. Then when you add one pump, when you add the next pump, it will ask you, you want to run this pump simultaneously. You want to stagger. You want to run it every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and the next pump, and the next pump. So when you make that change from dosing every half an hour, you don't have to go back and change 4 schedules. You change one schedule and it affects the entire group. Make it easy. It's about easy, All right. Dynamic dosing. The best way I can explain dynamic dosing is Hydros does the math for you. That's what it is. Dynamic dosing means Hydros does the math. Ultrasonic reports 7.5 milliliters alkalinity. Hydros will automatically know and do the math based on your volume and your target alkalinity and goes accordingly. Same thing with lanthanum and phosphate. It does the math. That's what dynamic does. You don't have to make the changes every time. Hydros automatically does. You have the option to turn dynamics dosing off, so you can make the changes yourself, or you can actually have the changes for you. All right. And then it tracks the remaining volume. You set the volume on your dosing reservoir, and it'll tell you when, and then you can set it. Say, send me a notification when I'm under 100 milliliters left, whatever you want. And they'll send you a notification. Okay. It is a full-fledged control. Again, it can do Wi-Fi strips. It can also take inputs from ultrasonic and focus drive. It is a power giver as well. So it can also provide power. So now you've got 3 devices that can actually provide power. You have an XP8 that's a 4th device. So you have that redundancy of power. Even when one fails, all the brains are still alive. All right. And best of all is that this weekend, you're getting 2 dry courses, 12 volts. You're getting 4 universal sensors, detector, water sensor, temperature. You're getting a salinity conductivity probe. You're getting a pH probe. You're also getting 4 stepper probes, right? And that has a price of $799. You're not getting 4. You're not getting 2 or pumps. You're not getting 3 pumps. You're not getting a pump that you still need another brain. You get the whole thing for $799. One complete package. One complete package. But it's just not enough for us. You know, we wanted to continue to push the envelope. We're not going to do something that somebody else has. We want to give you something better. All right. So let's introduce you to Hydros IV. Now, IV stands for isolated. So salinity, let's go back to salinity. People have been asking for us to do salinity. And as I said before, conductivity is the one thing, interference is the one thing that really affects salinity all the time. How many of us got salinity today, you know, in the morning it's 35 PBT, and then at night or during the day it was up to 27, and then at the end of the day it goes back to 35. Or when you turn on your LED, salinity goes crazy. You know, everybody has experienced that, you know? So we're trying to figure out a way to wrap it. How do we do it? How can we do it? And sometimes the solution is a lot simpler and right in front of it. Trying to develop this mechanism, and all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, we just need to isolate the salinity probe. So you can create a schedule that will draw water from your sample, pour it into this beaker with a stir to get rid of the bubbles. And then you take a sample reading. Now the sample reading is isolated, no more heater interference, no more lighting interference, no more return point interference. Your sample reading is going to be pretty clean. All right. You can set that schedule to every 2 hours, 3 hours, every half an hour. It's not going to give you a lot of reading, but then again, as long as I have you can schedule that for what you need. I don't think salinity is going to change that much in half an hour. If it does, we got bigger problems. You know, exactly. All right. So it can also, in addition to that, you're also isolating pH. You can actually put a pH probe in there. You know. So I'm not saying that you should grab your pH probe from your sump, take it and put it in here. No, use that to keep your pH probe in your sump honest. You know, isolated reading is 8.5. In the sump is 8.5. We're good. Isolated reading is 8.5. In the sump is 8. That's a different story. You know, something else is going on. So again, we're trying to do something that makes it better for everybody, so we can actually get a better reading without spending so much money, so much time. Now this insulated, the isolated vessel, so sample pH test. Okay, it can do sample salinity, if we talk about that, and it can facilitate alkalinity testing. So it's like you've gone halfway, might as well do the whole, take it all the way. You got a pH probe, you got a stir. Let's test alkalinity. It can test alkalinity. Now, alkalinity, we all know it's incredibly important. All right? It's incredibly important. So we wanted to make sure that everybody was able to create a schedule of your life. You can make the alkalinity test every 2 hours, every 3 hours, every 4 hours, every 30 minutes. Right? It uses standard reagent. So if you have an electronic, you can use the same reagent for this device. The salinity, the IV salinity is the alkalinity is compatible with your X4, it's compatible with your X3, and it's compatible with the X10. So if you currently have an X4 or an X3, you can purchase the IV for $129 and have alkalinity testing. Not $100, not $700, $129. Alkalinity testing. Because the alkalinity software is already there. We're not going to lock you and say you have to purchase the X10 in order to get alkalinity. No, we have the software. Let you use it. This device does not do the testing. This device facilitates the testing because the testing, the brain, the computing is on the hydrostatic. All right. Okay. So we thought, two products was enough, 3 products was enough. We're like, what, let's keep pushing the envelope. And we have been working hard on this. We've been working for about 3 years on this. And most of us at Coralvue internally, we've been testing this product for about 3 years. Some beta testers have been testing it for 2 years. That's how I'm going to say it. This device actually was developed when the Control 4 was developed. So 24 volts. You can take that line breakout, grab a cable, which you can purchase with the Kraken. On one end, it will use the GX12 connector, which is screw on, so you can't yank it out. And on the other end, it'll have the standard 5.5 by 2.1 power backup, the one that you expect to see on the other side of your power brick. So what do you do on an Equitech pump, like I was telling Mark? So you take the power brick from Equitech, you connect the cable, our cable, to the Kraken, and on the other end, grab that cable and connect it to the Equitech controller, and then to the pump, and you just got rid of the power supply. Now the Kraken comes with 8 force ports, 24 volts. That means you can get rid of 8 black bricks. Now, how many of you here are fed up with power supplies? Every NBC. That's what I'm talking about. So, and how many of you have those power supplies and you put that Velcro in there and they find out a couple of days later that it just went, exactly. So this has a Modular power supply that has already a bracket with 4 screws in there. There's a reason. Don't put the main well on the floor. Please don't. Okay? Attach it. All right, so the 24 volt force source can run your return pumps, your flow pumps. If your return pump is 24 volts, if it's got that break, you can run it. Your flow pumps, regardless. People say, oh, it'll connect with the max or the ice cap or the reef octopus. No, it could be anything else. If it's got a 24 volt power supply, it's compatible with the Kraken. All right. It also includes 4 12 DC ports for the small, small devices like little pump. So now we're talking about 8 24 volt power supplies plus 4 power supplies. So this device can get rid of 12 breaks. 12. That's big. That's big. All right. In addition to that, it also can be connected to a 12 volt lead acid. Lead acid. Both better. We're not in the business, we're not in the business of creating, of inventing batteries. We're not battery business, and we don't want to lock you into a particular battery that we're selling, that we make. No, it's a 12 volt lead acid battery. You can purchase it at a regular store. You can purchase it at your regular AutoZone, or you can purchase it on Amazon. If you want to do 12, if you want to do 20 amp hours, you want to do 75 amp hours, you want to do 100 amp hours, as long as it's a lead acid battery, it'll connect to the Kraken. So the lead acid battery, what it does is you program the Kraken to a low power. We call low power. As soon as the power goes down, the Kraken will pull power from the battery, bring it into the Kraken, then automatically turn on the outlets that you want to turn on and keep things running. While at the same time, through the command plus port, it actually is giving power to your other controller brains. So if you have a Kraken with an X4 that has got your temperature sensor, your pH sensor, your ORP sensor, at that point, it'll actually power the export and continue to work. All right. So the Kraken, the battery. In addition to that, the Kraken is a full-fledged controller. Yeah, it can handle Wi-Fi strips. It can handle, inputs from electronic, and it's a power delivery system. It'll continue to give power to everything. All right. So that is the Kraken. It's actually a pretty good device. There's nothing out there in the market that's doing it. Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We're not showing all our cards. I said the Kraken has been on the market, that has been developed over 3 years ago. It was before COVID. And honestly, it's because of chip shortage. That's what it is. But we have been using that. I've been using the Kraken for almost 2 years in my system. It's a great device. And that meaningful power supply, you can rest assured that meaningful, research it. That meaningful supply, it's a very, very robust. Now, here's the big question. It's like, how much is that going to cost? The meaningful power supply by itself, if you're on Amazon, is about $150. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you the Kraken plus the meaningful power supply for $599. $599. Batteries full setup. I don't want to ship batteries. It's too many permits and all that. But it must be that. So the tip of the iceberg, we have a lot more products in store. We're not done yet. We're doing that. Again, as I said, I'm going to close this with, change is inevitable. It's optional. And we are choosing to grow.